Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Late Night Football. And this is actually, if you are living in North America, this is Late Night Football because it's quite late at night. I'm doing this. We're just going to go through this. We've done actually a wonderful episode on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being sacked. That was the headline news for today. So if you haven't checked that episode out yet, do check it out after this one. You should find it on YouTube, Facebook channel. It's right there. Do check that out with some wonderful insights there that we shared and about what has happened and what the future holds. But in the meantime, we're gonna do our because now there's just one team. There's 19 teams in the Premier League, and we're gonna cover not all 19 of them. We'll try to cover 10 or 12 of them today. Joining me, we've got Knayha back on the show. Knayha, welcome back again.
Thanks for
It's been
having
a
me.
busy day for you, on this channel at least. And then we also got Siddhant back on the show. Siddhant, welcome as well.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good that we have you for the review show because for the preview ones you're like very conservative and I don't want to jinx, So hopefully today you'll be a little bit more like confident about that because there's a lot to be confident about. Let's start with you, Stan. Let's start with this one. I have a real question for you here. Between Brendan Rodgers and Rafa Benitez, who do you think is under more pressure right now? I mean, more in danger of getting sacked because both Everton and Leicester are not having good results right now.
I guess Brendan Rodgers might be in a better place because I know his team is underperforming right now, but he has done well with Leicester in the past seasons. So maybe he'll get the benefit of doubt over there and, some more time. But I don't think Benitez is doing a great job at Everton. I mean, I'm so sure he must be in a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
So yeah, according to me, it's Benitez who must be in more pressure.
Yeah, they're both on the same points, 15 points, both of them. And of course, Benitez has the stigma of being a former Liverpool manager, maybe even a
Exactly.
former Chelsea manager. Maybe that's not such a stigma. That's like half of the footballing world is probably former Chelsea managers. It's a tough situation, I think, for both of the managers. And now that Ollie's gone, it moves on. The wheel moves on. Ollie's at the wheel, he's off the wheel, but the wheel keeps moving because there's a sacking wheel continues. Right? There's always somebody under pressure. And speaking of under pressure, Knayha, another talking point. Newcastle can't seem to buy a win, no matter what goes on. Score 3 goals, they're still going to get a draw. Are they? We keep saying that they're probably not. Are they relegation candidates because of the money that they have? But there must be pressure there to think for the players because they're struggling, even with the change.
Absolutely. Like money can't buy you games. Like you have money, but you can't just buy games. That's you still have to score and play and get stuff done on the pitch. So that's kind of, I think that's a rude awakening for the new owners. Maybe they thought money could buy them wins as well, but then
that will happen in January. We're still not in January. That's when they'll start buying.
But that's something they might be hoping for. Like, I don't know. So, but it's clearly the fact that, of course, staying in the Premier League has to be the number one priority for the new owners. It doesn't make sense kind of spending so much, kind of coming into a club and then straight away going to championship. So, and they have a new manager. You have to give him a couple of games to just turn things around. It's a busy part of the season now. You will get to know, like, if they're going to get relegated, you'll get to know by January, and then that's going to define who they get in also by January. Like if they will get big players or somebody will, because if they're not even sure for staying in the Premier League, who will want to kind of come to them? And then if they go back to championship, what's the guarantee that players they have will stay, and so on and so forth. So I think the pressure mostly is going to be on Newcastle and the board, and them to kind of turn this around as quickly as possible. And January window, of course, is all it's all we're talking like futuristic, but now it just has to click. It has to start clicking that they have had a good performance. 3 goals is not bad. Scoring 3 goals is not bad, but then conceding 3 goals as well is not that good. Like they had the lead every time. And Brentford still came back. So I still feel that, yeah, but I guess it's a good performance goal scoring wise, at least. Saint Maximin is back. His Fraser is good. Like he's gone to his, the manager's gone back to his favorite players, like who he likes. Wilson is there, Fraser. So they're clicking, which is a good sign.
Yeah. So just looking at the sheet, I think they've got 8 games to come before we get into the January transfer window. And so that's we're getting to 20 games after that. if the unthinkable happens, Siddhant, and they don't win any of those games, let's say they pick maybe 5 points or maybe 8 points, let's say a point a game, 8 points. That puts them, I think, 14 points, because I think they're on 6 points right now.
Yeah, they're on 6 right now. Yeah.
6 right now, so 14 points. So then, is there a danger that if they don't start picking up points quickly, whatever they do in January might become irrelevant, and they might just end up, getting relegated? And especially now that Norwich and Norwich won, and they're starting to win games somehow, and even Watford have won. They get stuck into that. Is that a danger, you think?
See, the Newcastle situation, right now it also reminds me of the QPR situation. Remember, QPR was taken over by a rich owner, but still they got relegated. And they spent big in the January window themselves, but even they had, in spite of that, they couldn't turn the season around. So, first of all, it's not necessary that just because rich owners have come in, they're going to pump in like a huge amount of money. I mean, he's not going to put all his money in football. And secondly,
he has like 10, 20 billion. He puts in 100, 200 million is like a drop in the ocean at this point for him. I mean, for the owners. But I know what you mean, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Secondly, you can't attract the top players just for money. I mean, you need to have some sort of assurances for them that they are going to be in the top flight even the next season. So they have to perform better. Otherwise, I don't think they'll be even be able to attract really good players who play for the batch, in January transfer.
Yeah, I think that's something that they'll have to think about. I think that will be interesting to watch what happens with them in December, and then taking that into January. But exciting times ahead, and looks like we might have a relegation battle on our hands, because I mean, we were thinking Norwich was a 4-1 conclusion. They've won. They've now got 2 wins on the bounce. Watford obviously got a big win, so they're back there and there. Then you've got Aston Villa won as well, so they kind of distance themselves. And then you still got Burnley. You've got Leeds might get sucked into it for some reason. We're going to talk about Leeds as well. I mean, we might have a scrap there. But let's start with the top though, because it looks like we might have a 3-way battle on our hands. And just to put that, all 3 teams between them scored 10 goals and they didn't concede any. And then when you look at the rest of the teams behind them, there were all kinds of issues there. Tottenham sort of scraped a win. Arsenal obviously got hammered. West Ham lost. I mean, Siddhant, is there now a gap between the 3? The 3 is so much better than the rest. Is there a gap is there a noticeable gap between the top 3 and the rest of the league?
Yeah, especially if you look into the number of goals scored by the top 3. I mean, just look at the goal difference of the top 3 and the others. I mean, there's absolutely no comparison. So the top 3 looks to be sealed as per this moment. I mean, I don't think there is going to be anyone else jumping into the top 3. It is going to be Chelsea, Liverpool, and City in no particular order. But yeah, so
what did you say? Chelsea, Liverpool, and City?
Yeah, in no particular order.
No particular. No, it's funny that you mentioned Chelsea at the top, because I would have been like you. Siddhant was there, City, Liverpool, and Chelsea, because Chelsea should be third. Because I don't want them to be first. Maybe you're going in reverse order: Chelsea third, Liverpool second, City. Siddhant always has a calculated way of talking, but no. But yes, I agree with you. Yeah, it does make sense. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. So, but the 4th place is wide open. I mean, right now there's no guessing who is going to finish 4th. Yeah. Absolutely no guessing. Yeah.
Let's talk about that game, Chelsea against Leicester. Because 3-0 was a surprise. I mean, none of us really predicted that. We all thought it would be like a KG 1-0, 2-1. Well, not we all, but at least on this show we thought that. Nishikan obviously makes conservative predictions, but said that Saga as well made that prediction. But were you surprised by the ease with which Chelsea beat Leicester?
Not really, because Leicester have not been in that great a form, and they were missing some players. They were missing Tielemans, and actually he has been the best player this season.
Yeah,
and actually we had 3 legitimate goals and 3 offside goals. I mean, so that was the level of domination by Chelsea. So it was. I won't say I predicted 3-0, but I think it's a fair result. And looking at Leicester's form, I expected Chelsea to win for sure. So.
Yeah. See, this is Siddhant. Yeah, Siddhant. Nobody expects you to predict 3-0 wins for Chelsea. That just doesn't happen. But this is post-match, Siddhant. If it was pre-match, Siddhant would not be saying that a dominant win was not surprising. I mean, like, I'd be surprised if it was a dominant win, but it was a dominant win. Siddhant actually touched on a good point there. The injuries for Leicester. They've lost Fofana, obviously, which was a real problem. They're having issues with some of the other players as well. So Yunchu's not in form. They've lost Tielemans. Are injuries finally catching up to Leicester? They have a small squad and it's finally showing now for them this season.
Absolutely, like that's so, having the depth, and also the signings that they've made, and it's not coming together in a sense that we've seen them previously. Like they've stuck. Yeah, exactly. They've tried to start in a way that it makes sense right now, that they look everywhere. They're like everywhere, and it was I think Siddhant was kind of being a little kind, that Chelsea just could like pick them apart, like literally. Like they couldn't hold the ball, and of course Tielemans was a big miss. He's been an amazing player for them, but not knowing what next to, they're looking up, and Vardy is not there. Like he's not making those runs, or there is nobody to kind of feed him. They're suddenly looking, okay, who do we look out to? Maddison is on the bench. He doesn't start. He's not had a best season. He's lacking confidence, or I don't know. He's completely lackluster this season. Like there is nothing. So no, and your main player has been Yuri Tillman, and he's not there. So of course injuries have picked up. Like they've taken a toll now on obviously the way that they play, because they play attractive football. They really make moves. They make the runs, ball behind defenders. But do they have the depth right now to look for that inspiration or somebody picking up? No, okay.
Yeah.
Ndidi, like the midfield themselves, it's just been kind of a wall, but they're just very defensive right now in their mind. They're not looking as well kind of up front. Like who can be that spark?
Yeah, and then they've got a big Europa League game coming up this Thursday as well, which they need to win if they want to qualify for the knockout stages. Siddhant, is it time for Leicester to move on from Vardy? Do you think it's time for them to start looking at Iheanacho, looking at Daka? I mean, we don't want to be knee-jerk, but is it time for them to start thinking maybe Vardy should be a squad player and not a starter?
I'm sure they are thinking like that, and
Or is it time to actually execute it? Like, because he still starts games, right? I mean, is it time to now finally execute it? Is the question.
Yeah, but see, I rate Iheanacho, and I think he's a good player. Maybe it's time that they start.
And then Daka as well.
Yeah, Patson Daka is an amazing talent. I mean, he scored 4 goals in that game. It was ridiculous. So yeah, I guess Rodgers will probably do that. Maybe he's giving some chances to Vardy because he's like the club legend by now. So, but I think he's going to slowly phase out Vardy in that, like how they phased out Andy King, and and start with the youngsters more often.
Yeah, I think it's time to do that. Can I have final thoughts on this one? Trevor Chalobah is a fantastic player. Obviously, he's getting a lot of reviews. Do you think, and I feel on form right now, he should be England's third centre half. If England are going to play a back three, I think he should be England's third centre half right now on current form. I'm not saying he will be. I'm saying he should be, just on current form. Do you see him being a part of the England setup by the end of the year?
No, not because of his individual brilliance, but because of the pairing that he works along with. He has to start next to Maguire.
Not necessarily. You could start with Stones and Walker, right? I would take on Maguire. I would actually throw on Maguire.
I know that, but then that's not happening. So he's scoring the goals as well. So I'm very sure that the manager there on England side as well is looking at like, oh, he's scoring my first goal every time, and then we start scoring like free fall, that the other teams start going like so yeah, like Chalobah on his own with Stones or
Walker.
Could be Walker or Chilwell as well. Just if he play, or just if you have a back five situation somewhere or back four, you can play a lot along with him. But now, given the current way that of course the performance with the England squad has been, and defensively how kind of solid they've been, yeah, I don't think him getting in is going to be that easy. And I think what he's doing with Chelsea just keeps him in that spot always. Like he's always going to be like just that close to get into that squad.
Yeah. And I feel, yeah, I feel if England want to get anywhere, at least right now, and maybe things will change in 6 months because we're still a year
Yeah,
out of the World Cup.
exactly.
I feel if England are going to get anywhere, they need to get away from Maguire as a starter. That's what I feel right now. In a year's time, maybe I will say, no, you know what, he's back and he'll do well. But right now, I feel like he's not in the headspace to be there, and I don't think he should be there. I don't think it's going against San Marino and Albania puts him in that. But anyway, we'll see what happens. England, we got a year away, and we got now 5 months of not having to worry about England. So we'll keep that away. We'll move on. We're not going to talk too much about the United Watford game because we kind of cover a lot of things. And the headline is obviously Solskjaer getting fired. But Siddhant, the question that I wanted to ask though is, there's going to be a new interim manager. There's going to be a bit of changes. What do you think United's goal should be for this season? We already know what it is going to be, which is nothing. They're going to just wait a run. But what do you think United's goal should be for this season?
The ultimate goal will be that 4th spot. I mean, they will want to.
It's so nice. There's a troll. The ultimate goal is the 4th spot. Not title. No, ultimate goal is the 4th spot. I like how Zidane says makes subtle digs, and probably doesn't realize he's making digs, but he just makes digs. That's funny. Yeah. No, please. Sorry.
They, even with another manager, I don't think the squad right now, mentally or otherwise, I don't think they can compete with top 3 in this season.
That's true.
Yeah. So, and I think the reason that Ole is getting sacked is 1, because of bad performance, and 2, they are getting away from their primary target of top 4 finish. So, whoever comes in, that's what he's going to be told by the board, that you have to finish in the top 4. So apart from that, I'm not so sure they're going to do that well in the cup games or in the Euro or in the Champions League.
Well, they could still finish in the Europa League. They could still be in that 3rd spot. We don't know yet, right? That's going to be decided this. I feel it's going to be decided this week on Tuesday. But that makes sense, though.
But they'll have a new manager bounce against Chelsea, so
Well, that depends. I don't think we're going to have. I think it's going to be the same coaching staff. I think it'll be okay. I don't think we'll have a new manager, which will be an interim manager, replacing an interim manager. I don't think that will happen yet. So we've got to wait and see on that. I think that's something we'll talk about, I guess, in the preview for the Chelsea game. But that makes sense. Knayha, Maguire's going to be. I just want to talk about the game, but I'm just thinking how to contextualize it. There's 2 things here. Number 1, how much. Is it time to drop Harry Maguire from the team? And I know he's going to miss the next game, but should he be dropped from the game against Villarreal? And then should he be dropped for a couple of games? I know it's going to be new stuff, and it should be just dropped for a couple of games. And then there's a second question that I'll ask, but I'll start with this one first.
So, this reminds me of, I think, what we discussed, a couple of episodes back about Wan-Bissaka, or sometime back about Wan-Bissaka. He was kind of having a nightmarish start, and he was all over, he was sliding, and you're like, should he just be dropped? And you kind of feel that he needs some time off and gains confidence. But we don't look at Maguire like that, because Maguire is looked at as a leader. He's the captain. So there is a difference there. So I feel that if you can't drop him, that's the problem. You can't, because I feel that you have a pairing with Varane. If he stays there, if Varane is there, he looks good, and then he's able to sustain a little more. Getting out of a headspace, he's a top, 80 million. I think we spent 80 million for him. 85. And I don't think we should drop him. If he's going to be bad, let him be as bad as he's been, so that we just know he's not going to be.
Yeah, well, the other issue though is, who do you replace him with? Because Lindelof is equally as bad.
Exactly. So I'm like,
he might play a couple of games, he'll get injured. So you could play Bai until he gets injured. But the other question though, the bright spot from that game, Donny van de Beek and Jadon Sancho. I know Donny van de Beek had a wonderful game. I thought and I was watching 45 minutes, like, why is he not starting? Why is he not playing games? But he might get now. But that link up between Donny van de Beek and Jadon Sancho, I think that is something that can be built upon. Jadon Sancho showed why he should play on the right and not on the left in that game. That might be something that for the new manager to work on. That might be Ollie's parting gift for United, that I've given you something. Finally, after my last 45 minutes, I've given you something that maybe the new manager can build on.
Well, it could be, but then that's again thing, it's just and that was his. You can just imagine how long he's been waiting to be just called up, Donny van de Beek. And he's like, I'll give it. So that emotion and everything just kind of came out, but he's a good player. We've never said he's a bad player. You just need to give chances to players and see what works in that situation. We've seen the whole same United team playing for how long, however long we've been losing, I guess. We've not changed anything. That was the first time he's kind of moved and got Donny van de Beek there, and then he scored. And yeah, there was a small link up. We could see that he's doing well with Sancho on the right, and it makes sense. But then that was a different situation. Like we were playing Watford, and we lost the plot like pretty early on, and the red card as well, and so on didn't help us. But is that the solution that we go the interim manager, like, does Carrick give him more game time? I don't know. We'll have to see if that happens. So that's going to be very interesting. Again, the pressure starts building from the game zero right now. Like Carrick already has pressure because he knows that whatever he chooses, the squad he starts with, he's going to be judged on that one. And then everybody's going to be like, how different is this to what Ole did? And is this different to what Ole did? So Donny van de Beek has been a great player. We've never said he's not a good player, but then he needs more game time, and we need to see more, combinations of plays, some different ideas, and then see what works.
Yeah. See, I don't mind players being dropped, even though they cost a lot. Like I know you talk about Maguire. I don't mind Jadon Sancho being dropped because I don't think he was having a good time. So it was good for him to drop. But then when the other players also suck, then you've got to bring him back and give him a chance. I just thought I thought he did well in that game. But anyway, I don't want to make this too United centric, so we'll kind of move on because Siddhant is just looking at us blankly like, United suck. I don't want to talk about. Why are we talking about? Why are we wasting time on mid-table clubs? Siddhant, were you surprised West Ham lost to Wolverhampton? I mean, I thought it was a dead-on win, but they lost. And now Wolverhampton are they're sixth now, by the way. Actually, they are kind of also getting back in that race. Let's just look at this because we've got West Ham, we've got Arsenal, Wolves, Spurs. I think those probably four teams. You could probably might say Brighton as well, and maybe Palace as well might be in that race, but maybe not. But you've got those four teams. Genuinely, I think at the moment at least, those four teams look primed to compete for that fourth spot.
You said
well, Arsenal, West Ham, and then you've got Wolves below that, and then you've got Spurs. And those are right now fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Those are 4, 5, 6, 7. That's your four teams there. And then you've got Brighton on 9th, and Palace, I believe, are 10th. But again, they're not too far back. Basically, the difference between West Ham and Palace is just 7 points right now.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm not counting on Wolves to actually compete for the fourth spot as such. They might be in good form right now, but I think the other teams are better. West Ham is certainly in a great run of form. I know they lost against Wolves, but still, and I think many players in their squad are in a really good form right now, so they would definitely be there. Arsenal, even though they lost to Liverpool, recent run of results have been really good, so they will be there. I'm not counting too much on Spurs, even though Conte is there. I mean,
well, they didn't win today, but yeah,
they won today. I know they went back by a goal, but they won. But
yeah, the only question
according to me, I think United will be there around the fourth spot towards the end of it. That's what we thought. Even
Knayha and I were like shaking heads. No. See, I purposely deliberately ignored them. They were like, "Hey, I don't want to talk about this."
Yeah, exactly. That's not going to happen.
No.
From a neutral fan's view, I'll tell you that see, I know Ole is gone. United were like around 13th a couple of seasons back or something, and they found a way. Maybe they'll find a way. Who knows? But I'm so sure they will be there around the fourth spot.
The only issue, I think, Arsenal have the benefit because they're not going to play midweek games. West Ham have to play Thursday again. I think that might be a problem for them playing that Europa League game because I think it might start to affect them. And then they might have to make a choice whether they want to go in the Europa or whether they want to try to fight for fourth spot at some point. So that might be the issue. And so Arsenal might be in a better position from that regard, not having to fight for fourth spot. I mean, not having to fight in Europe.
The problem with Arsenal, I feel, is like, they've had a good run. They've stabilized, but then they easily go down. Like you can't really predict if they're going to hold or sustain their performances. And they of course have an advantage not playing midweeks, but then Yeah, the performance, like the loss to Liverpool was heavy. They're playing Newcastle next, who are just like, I feel, are on a rise again, like at least on a confidence level, scoring 3, and they have much more to prove. So it's and then with West Ham, they've tasted Europe now. They know how it feels. They've gotten used to it. They know how what's expected. So they should have learned from that experience as well. And Moyes, he's doing a great job. He's sustaining this. Wolves, losing to Wolves was like a one-off in my mind. The it could have gone either way. It could have just been a 0-0 as well, or a 1-0 for West Ham as well. But then they lost, and that will be something that then they know that it's very easy to slide from this Premier League table right now, because the gap is like very small. You lose a couple of games and then you're suddenly like 9th or 11th, because the gap is very slow. So I feel it's yeah. Wolves, we're not talking about Wolves because they're not scoring many goals. They're just winning the ones. So we don't, and they're and yeah. So that's kind of where I feel about Wolves. Spurs could be the dark horse again. We talk about Spurs as dark horses, but then with Conte, the way like they were down 1-0 to Leeds and they came back. That's encouraging in my mind. I feel that you're getting stuff out of players who have basically previously not responded to pressure, or not responded, like like Pochettino was one that they would kind of go in, but then over that time they've not been able to do that. And I think only now that I see with Conte that they're actually pushing themselves. Like Kane is still kind of pushing when and he has a dead leg or something, but he's still trying to kind of make a run or some stuff. So I feel that, in my mind, I think that 4th spot will go to Spurs in my mind.
It's interesting because the gap between 1st to 4th is 6 points, which is the same
Yeah.
between the 4th to 7th. So sorry, 4th to 9th actually, 4th to 9th. So I mean, it's quite competitive. Technically at the top still. I mean, it's still competitive at the top. We're saying that they're clear ahead, but they're not necessarily that clear. But I mean, it's hard to see anybody sustaining. Siddhant, Liverpool, Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal lost, which was obviously good news as a Chelsea fan for you. Would Liverpool be pleased? I mean, not just with the fact that they scored 4 goals, but they kept a clean sheet, something that they needed in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they would definitely be happy with the clean sheet. I mean, by now it just looks like they can score 3 or 4 goals against any opposition that way. But they would be happy with the clean sheet, and I think it was a good performance against Arsenal. And Arsenal have been defending well in very recently, not in the games in the beginning, but recently they had been defending well. So a 4-0 win against them is pretty good, I would say.
Were you disappointed with Arsenal? I mean, do you expect them to do more in this game, or do you think it was par for the course that that's the best they could have done?
I think Liverpool just blew them away. I mean, every time Liverpool had the ball, Trent had the ball, he would just pass it to Salah, and then 3 more Liverpool players would be running ahead. Typical Klopp style. I mean,
yeah.
Arsenal didn't have any room or any space to go ahead themselves. They were busy defending the whole game.
So I think Liverpool showed the first weakness that they've actually picked apart a defense which was pretty good till now for Arsenal. That everybody was like, oh, finally they're kind of defensively really good. Tomiyasu, Gabriel, and Ben White, they've just playing together was amazing. And look what they did. Like the first goal, a long ball, Trent pinpoint perfection, and then Mane just kind of heading in from the far almost. They picked them apart. Like they knew exactly how to kind of press, when to press, and that this will help Arsenal. Like Arsenal has had an upper hand in this match, like since like I don't know 4 seasons, 5 seasons. They've never lost, and they've almost had a clean sheet every time. So I feel that Arsenal is going to learn, but then this is good for their defensive unit. Like what gaps were there? How could they kind of play this? But then Liverpool was just like they were like seamless. They played so well.
Yeah.
Like at no point did I feel that they're going to concede like at all. There was I think 1 or 2 shots which Alisson was obviously amazing at. He even had an assist or that goal from the back. the way you kind of he loops it in, and then there's a single header, and then Mane is there and Salah finishes. That was
I
you
think,
know,
yeah,
that was
I
amazing.
personally believe that Liverpool at their best, they are more dangerous team than City. I think City are more like a death by 1,000 cuts kind of system, whereas Liverpool are like just take a rocket and just launch it, to you. So that's what they do. It's kind of the comparison. They both can kill you, but one is a little bit. One is more passive. One is more just like, yeah, just yeah, go on and do that. So that's what I feel with Liverpool. I think City probably have the better team, but I think Liverpool at their best, they probably are more dangerous than City. But I mean, yes, it's a good win for Liverpool. And speaking of City, 3-0 win. So that now, I mean, we talk about Donny van de Beek being on the bench, and we talk so much about him not playing. And Riyad Mahrez is in the same situation. I mean, he didn't start today. He started Cole Palmer, Guardiola. He didn't start Riyad Mahrez. Should he be worried? Should Mahrez be worried about his future at the club? Or do you think it's just Guardiola things?
Uh, I guess uh, I guess he won't be worried about Cole Palmer starting, but I think he would be thinking, what should he do to start ahead of Sterling? I mean, Sterling scored a goal, but Mahrez can do so much more from that right hand side. I mean, he has such a lethal left foot. He can, probably trouble the opposition defense a lot more than what Sterling is doing these days. I mean,
Yeah,
so
but then I think we have had a problem with Bernardo Silva kind of being suddenly coming to form, where they've now more problems with kind of who starts, because Bernardo Silva has been amazing, and then Mahrez I think is also coming back from an international break,
yeah,
not rested, could be, but then yeah, I think Sterling, the no again, what I feel is like this was again a chance for Pep to try something for the December time when it goes crazy. Like when you start playing so many games back to back, when you start getting some niggles, some knocks, maybe an injury or something. So he's just kind of preparing that, okay, what is my go-to then? So Palmer starting was basically, I think, in a way saying that I will need like a out and out striker. I have, I want to use Jesus on the right more, and I don't want to kind of play him in the center. So I think he's just trying out stuff. I don't think any of the City players should right now be worried unless they've already kind of signed or kind of said that they want to leave the club or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I mean, when Donny doesn't start, how everybody goes up and down. So Riyad Mahrez is probably in the same situation, but City get a pass because they win games. When you win games, nobody cares. That's the way it is. And nobody questions a manager when, like Guardiola, whereas people have questions about Solskjaer. But anyway, I mean, it was a wonderful performance from City, Knayha. And they kept a clean sheet again. I think that's more impressive, isn't it? City. It's not the fact that they're scoring goals; they're keeping clean sheets at the back. They just And that was City's MO last season as well. They weren't necessarily the most fluid of attacking teams. They became that, but it was really the ability to keep clean sheets that allowed them to just go on a run and win the title.
Absolutely. That's so. It again comes with like the confidence that defense has had now on its own. Like they're missing Diaz didn't start, so Diaz was not there. So even then they were like Laporte and Stones is coming back, so he's high on confidence. So that and if you see the top three teams in Premier League right now, that's the common element. They did not concede a goal in this
Yeah.
in this game week, all three of them,
Mm-hmm.
and they're defensively like so strong. Like Liverpool was starting Tsimikas, they didn't have Roberts, but it didn't matter. And both Chelsea is scoring more from the defense than from the front. So that's a different. They're on a different level altogether. And João Cancelo's pass for the first goal was like Kevin De Bruyne, exactly like how Kevin De Bruyne would have done it. So I'm like, you have a Kevin De Bruyne in defense as well. Like, wow. Well, so I'm like, so it and this is on top of their defensive duties. It's not like they're doing pathetic on defensive and then they're still giving some assists. No, they're doing really good and very stable and back. And of course, this is Pep. Of course, makes players be better, have a better understanding of how they play. What they are more capable of. But then this also goes back to the point that they own the defense. Like they feel responsible that they don't have to concede. Ederson even when they miss a pass or something happens, it's not like that they don't know what's going to happen. There's always somebody covering up immediately. There is somebody coming back, helping the defense to kind of get it sorted. So and performances from John Stones, Laporte, João Cancelo, Kyle Walker, they have been consistent now. So we've not had a period where we're seeing a lack of form or difference in form. And this is key for this December, because this is where the titles kind of make or break, generally in the top three. And in this season, it's so close. Like you see, like they're so close, all three of these teams. So it's definitely going to be it's high pressure, but then it's also we are witnessing the best, I think, Premier League top three battle ever, because we've always seen top two. It's always been either Liverpool or it's been Liverpool and City. It's Chelsea or City or Chelsea Liverpool. Now it's all three altogether. So I think I'm just it's really nice to see this.
Yeah, I don't think we've had a three-way battle since 1999. So, and that year, team from Manchester won it, and then they won the treble as well. And there's a nightmare that I do not want to relive in the blue nightmare that I don't want to relive. But yeah, they look good even in the Champions League. They've got Messi coming over this week, so we'll see how they handle that. And that'll be interesting to watch. Siddhant, just talking about the Spurs and talking about they came back today to win from 1-0 down to 1. I mean, again, by the way, 6 consecutive halves that they hadn't had a shot on target. Not forget a goal, they didn't have a shot on target. Finally, they broke through and they got 2 goals in the second half. Just confidence-wise, that I think it's one of those get that first win out of the way kind of result, isn't it, for Spurs? And then now maybe they can build on that and try to improve going forward.
Yeah, so it's still early days for Conte. I mean, he's still trying to understand the strengths of his squad, and he's trying his new systems. I think they started with 3 at the back today.
Yeah,
I don't know if they've done that before.
no, they've been playing 3 at the back. That's Conte's MO. He plays 3 at the back. So yeah, that's what they've been doing.
Yeah. So, but
yeah.
I'm sure that as even when he came to Chelsea in the beginning, they didn't do that well. But afterwards, when he really got into his own, the team started playing really well. So, I'm sure Conte is getting the right discipline in place, which is the most important thing for him in training, and
yeah,
he'll build from there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we talked a lot about Harry Kane, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, another player that's probably forgotten, man, is Dele Alli. Actually, I think he's. Is there any way back for him? Do you think, and not just at Tottenham, but just as a top flight career, do you think there's a way back for him, or do you think it's just too far gone at this point?
There's always a way back for players. Like it's never like they, when you show class, it's not you still have that, but the main question is, are you willing to kind of put in that effort to show that okay, you are there? Like he did come on like as a sub for the last, I think, 10 minutes or 2 minutes or 4 minutes or something.
Yeah.
But then it's not like Conte is ignoring him. It's like, I'm not even going to sub you in for like last 5 minutes. There's no point of doing that. But then it's also depends on how Dele Alli feels about it. Does he want to be a starter? Is he even thinking about that he can make an impact? And I feel he can if he sticks with him. So Conte has always been a manager who demands a lot, and when you give it to him, he gives it back to you. Like he will start games with you. But then the main question is, are you willing to do that first? Are you willing to put in that effort, that legs, like that intensity, the way that he wants you to play, and so on? So he can and Conte is the right manager to be along like these players right now, because they can learn a lot. And also the fact that if they can't sustain the pressure and the intensity, he knows how to deal with them. He's done it like at all clubs. It's not difficult for him to just simply say that, okay, he's not putting the great effort in training, I'm not going to even think about him. So Dele Alli has a chance, but then it's up to him if he wants to take it.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I mean, we're going to kind of wrap this up, but I was just thinking, so if you followed my fantasy Premier League player pick, I picked West Declan Rice, and he obviously sucked. So sorry, but anybody who listened to me picked Declan Rice. If you did listen to, I believe, Saga, I think picked Mo Salah. And I think if you listen to him, then you got some points. So congratulations on that. And I can't remember, Nishikant, I think, picked Mane. I can't remember who he picked. But I feel like he picked the Chelsea. Well, he might have picked the Chelsea player, actually. I'm not sure. But yeah, I don't remember who he picked. But yeah, I think he picked Mane maybe. I think he had picked Salah at first, and then he kind of switched to Mane, I think. But anyway, they did well as well. So if you picked one of their picks, I think you probably had a better day out than mine. But to conclude, Siddhant, who, if you had to pick a player for the weekend, who do you think was your player of the weekend?
Difficult to say actually. I think because these three teams played so well.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to hold you to it. You can just pick anyone.
Maybe I'll go for Cancelo. I mean,
Cancelo.
I thought he was really good today.
Awesome. Yeah. No. All right. Maybe a bit of recency bias there. But
Exactly.
anyway, Knayha, what do you think?
I think in my mind it's pretty strange for me to say, but Dennis was amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Cameron Dennis. Yeah, I think Dennis.
Yeah.
From
He just killed the game. He was like, yeah, United couldn't deal with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I was struggling to pick between Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire as players for Watford, obviously, because they were not playing for United, they were playing for Watford. But no, I would actually say N'Golo Kante, because I thought that he scored a beautiful goal against Chelsea. I know Siddhant will never pick a Chelsea player because all the jinx, and so he won't pick a Chelsea player. But I thought N'Golo Kante, I think he's someone who's fallen a little bit off the radar for the last couple of years, I feel. And I think now he's finally getting that recognition again that he deserves. So the last year or so.
He's having some injury problems also here and there. So, keeps drifting in and out of the team. But when he's playing, he's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's quite a phenomenal thing. But yeah, sometimes I feel like he doesn't get the recognition that he deserves. But a phenomenal player. I think he was player of the weekend. I mean, yeah, you could really pick anybody from Liverpool, Chelsea, or City. I think you'd probably be right either way. But yeah, I think that would be my pick for today. But on that note, we're going to wrap up here. It's a bit shorter episode, which is kind of nice. We've kind of skimmed through a few things. I kind of wanted to touch on different points rather than going match by match, because I feel like that's a little bit better. So let me know what you thought of it, if you thought this format works, or if you want to see us do a little bit more match by match review, then we can do that as well. But in the meantime, thank you so much, Knayha. Thank you so much, Siddhant, for joining me today and sharing your analysis, your discussions, insights. We've got a big Champions League week coming up. Some massive games there. City, PSG, United are taking on Villarreal, which is a crunch tie, and then you've got Barcelona, who need a win as well. Are they playing Bayern Munich? I feel like they're playing Bayern Munich. Are they playing Bayern Munich? Who are Barcelona playing?
Barcelona is playing Bayern Munich, I think.
Bayern Munich, yeah, I think they're Bayern Munich. So that'll be a nice blockbuster clash. Chelsea are playing Juventus, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's another nice. There's a nice clash there as well. I think Liverpool, I believe they're playing AC Milan, if I am not mistaken. Again, I'll have to check that. But yeah, unfortunately, but yeah, that Liverpool already qualified anyway and finishing top, so they don't need to worry about. They can probably play.
So Barcelona is playing Benfica.
Oh, they're playing Benfica. Oh, cool.
Benfica, and Chelsea is playing Juventus.
Yeah.
Inter is playing Shakhtar Donetsk, City, Paris.
Yeah.
Atletico Milan, Liverpool, Porto.
Atletico playing Milan. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, Liverpool are already qualified, so Atletico probably need a win in that one to just kind of confirm their spot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, then they're almost there. I think Milan probably are looking at Europa right now. Or maybe if they can somehow back when thing. And I think Liverpool. I think Benfica. Well, not Benfica. Liverpool. Who's Liverpool playing?
Porto.
Probably, yeah, they're playing a Portuguese team. Yeah, Porto are probably in a better position to qualify for Europa. But anyway, we'll be here hopefully with the review show on the Champions League, maybe later on. But got some nice big games. It's nice actually. We like to, we get to discuss a few teams that we normally don't get to discuss in these shows. So that's kind of nice. But we'll be here for that one hopefully. In the meantime, thank you, Knayha. Thank you, Siddhant. Thank you so much for watching this program. I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and let us know your thoughts. Appreciate your support. Have a good day or night, whatever time you're watching this, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.